Transmitters, receivers, and transceivers. Single band, VHF, or UHF. So that's you get one band. So a single band, you got VHF or UHF. So that would be single. Dual band is VHF, UHF nowadays. Multi-band, HF and VHF, UHF. So some of them we call a shack in the box because it's got everything we normally use. The advantage of those is that they have multiple modes available in the 2 meter and 440. 2 meter sideband is popular with some people. If you don't have, if you just have one of these little guys, or like we've got their FM only on the 2 meters. The shack in the box does have that advantage. But when you lose your radio, you lose everything you got. Multi-band, HF, VHF, UHF, let's see, I covered that. Multi-mode, CW, AM, FM, single sideband, almost, etc. So anything that's available, digital, all that good stuff. And then the handheld or HT, and they can be single band, they can be dual band, they can be tri-band. I'm not sure of anything bigger than a tri-band. Anybody? So generally that's going to have the 1 1/4 meter.
They can be digital too.
And they can be digital, DMRs out there. Single band transceiver, probably the most common starter rig. The Baofeng UV5R, dual band handy talkies are up there. I don't know that a single band is the most common anymore. There's so many available dual band radios out there that I don't think the monos are the most common anymore. Operates from 12 volts DC. Remember, that's not actually 12 volts. We'll talk about nominal values later. Requires external power supply, so you got to have your car battery or a power supply. Requires an external antenna. There's one right there sticking up in the air. Can be operated mobile or as base stations. Base station radios are typically bigger, heavier.
And they have a built-in power supply.
Built-in power supply, you plug them in a wall. Whereas if you use a mobile radio as your base station, all you need if power goes out, a 12 volt battery. Take it out to your car, use a motorhome battery or whatever you've got. Limited to frequency modulation, FM, and usually 2 meters or 70 centimeter band. It could be others, but that's generally what you're going to see. Nothing yellow. Remember the yellow is all you got to test on. Up to approximately 70 watts of output. You don't want a handheld. I don't even know if I want 10 watts.
No, I don't, for sure.
Because if you think about it, you've got the handheld, where's the antenna? Right in front of your brain housing group. Dual band transceiver. Similar to the single band transceiver, but includes additional bands. Most common are 2 meter, 70 centimeter. Could add 6, 222, or 1.2 gigahertz. Depending on the antenna connectors, it might require separate coax for each band, or duplex, or single coax. So some radios will have either 2 connectors on the back, or more, or they'll have the dongles or wires coming out with just the regular old end on it, and you screw on your antennas to those. Others will have a single one. Multi-mode transceiver can be single or multi-band. The main difference is these rigs can operate on all major modes: AM, FM, single sideband, CW, data, radio, etc. So multi-mode is what you really want, but when most people start, they're going to get a or a dual band 2 meter 440. More features and complexity and cost. That's why you're going to start with a mono band or dual band. And the most flexible rigs that will allow you to explore new modes as you gain experience is the multi-mode transceiver. You can have, this is the question, can have multiple receive bandwidth choices which permits noise or interference reduction by selecting a bandwidth matching the mode. That's one of the big.
And that's an important feature, especially in the HF world.
Yeah, so you're on 40 meters and it's just not working, and you go from, I don't know, AM to single sideband. Single sideband gives you more punch.
Why do we even use FM on our handhelds? Why don't we use single sideband? Most of it is interference related. Back in the day when our auto broadcast band receivers in the car were AM, it was awful. The ignition noise was just driving us crazy. And then they went to CB, and CB was AM. And the ignition noise was driving us crazy.
And it was just bizarre sometimes.
It was awful. And as soon as they went to FM, all that went away.
What about, they say in the book, FM, you can only pick up one signal. For a sideband, you can pick up multiple signals.
You know, and they want you to believe that. It's not true. In FM, if you are on a repeater, because the repeater is so closely synchronized between transmit and receive, that it's just simply going to put out whatever it takes in. So you can have multiple signals and you can actually hear them. Usually they're going to be staticky, they're going to be noisy, they're going to be interfering with each other if you've got multiple signals. That's why you'll hear us talk about bumping heads.
Doubling.
Doubling. There's a bunch of different terminology for that. But you're going to receive both of those signals. The problem is they're not going to be really intelligible. What was the rest of the question?
Well, they say single sideband is the way to go.
Yeah,
because
single sideband.
FM, they only can receive one.
Yeah.
On the other
The
hand,
other side, sideband, you can receive multiple signals at the same time and distinguish the voices.
and that is a desirable condition.
Yes.
At times. I want 15 guys trying to call me when I'm running a contest.
And after
And
you
I'll
train
just-
your ear, you can pick out those voices.
Pick out one. Is it ending such and such, or guy in Baton, Philippines, or whatever you pulled out of his information, and you tell him to call you. And then everybody else should shut up, and then you go QRZ, and the next group comes at you, and you pick one out, so.
But the repeater makes us lazy.
Yes.
The
Yes, it does.
repeater acts as the net controller.
Sort of,
By
yeah.
limiting how many signals it can take in intelligibly. So it seems like you can only hear one at a time on the repeater. And we get lazy with that because we step on each other, the repeater sorts it out. On single sideband, you can step on each other, and yeah, it does become a big deal. The net control has to sort all that out by ear and figure out who it was that's really trying to get in, and oh, there's a guy in the background there, we need to get a hold of him too. So, yeah, it's a two-edged sword. The FM works really great. The repeater pretty much sorts it out, but we get really lazy about using over when we have stopped the conversation. Pretty much, we just drop the conversation, we just stop talking, and the repeater, gives a little telemetry beep, and all of that's automatic.
Oh no, most people don't wait for that beat. They get right on that.
On single sideband, it doesn't happen. So, yeah, you need to be much more precise when you're talking on single sideband.
Think of all of these modes as just another tool in the toolbox. And they all have an appropriate place and a time.
So I run a net on Friday nights, and sometimes on Monday night. We rotate on Monday night. And I'll go, if it's a night that's popular and there's a lot of people, and let's say it's snowing and raining and nasty outside and everybody's inside and they got the radios on. And I go, all right, we're looking for check-ins. Okay, I don't know how many stations were out there, but let's see, let's try that again. And then nobody will talk because they're all waiting for somebody else to check in. And then they'll all key up at the same time again. Okay, is there a November station? Or some other means of picking, or I heard somebody's in Tualatin or
One for Lapine, you're up first.
Yeah, whatever you can pull out. Whereas on a single sideband, you hear all the voices jumbled. On FM or through a repeater, they most often just make a bunch of noise. But there are times where I got more power or I'm closer to the repeater and I stomp all over you because the repeater didn't even listen to you, especially on a linked system where mine's getting in first. So that happens too. So everyone has its own niche that is really good at, and it also has its cons. So who's got a radio already? I know you do, because you're on there. You got one, because you got a radio?
I got a radio, can't use it.
Why not?
Don't have a license.
You could still use it, you just can't push the button.
Right.
You should be listening to the
Listen
nets.
in a gigalat.
Yeah, you can listen to the nets,
Make notes.
and if you get somebody who's got a license, you can key up.
Under third-party
Third-party
you do a lot of
rules.
stuff.
Does Darren's got a license. If he's sitting with you,
Well, if he's got a
he's the
2 meter.
control operator, you can key up and talk.
And use his, as long as he does the code,
No, you can give his call sign.
oh, I can give his calls?
Yeah, depends on what he's comfortable with. So if I was like having somebody do it, they would go KG7TUO third party. Because everybody who knows me is gonna go, that's not Bruce.
Right.
Who are you? Oh, Bruce is right here. Okay? You can transmit. In fact, the first Friday of every month, I run an app that is specifically for people who don't have licenses to get on the air with a control operator sitting next to them. I've had a 2-year-old on the radio. All right. Multiband transceiver covers many bands, can be limited to HF, or it can be HF, VHF, UHF. Also covers all modes, frequently 100 watts on HF. That is really common. Power, some limitations on high bands, 50 watts. Larger units have internal power supplies. Smaller units need external power. 13.8 volts now, not 12. We'll cover why later on. The handy talkie. All right, small handheld, general. Oh, and anybody with a Baofeng or variant, if you need any tutorials, KG7TUO on YouTube, you can look up how to get chirp. You can look up how to program radios, all that good stuff. And there's a specific manual programming tutorial for Baofengs.
And don't let the fact that Chirp is free fool you into thinking that it's not worth it.
Yeah,
It is a good programming medium. It's not all inclusive, and sometimes you wind up waiting for them to add a new radio in there.
because it's free and
Yeah.
it's open source.
Yeah.
So, but it's pretty
they're
good.
gonna get there, and when they get there, it's gonna be good. It will work.
Yeah, I use it. I have a little bag this big with a Windows 10 tablet in it and a thumb drive with the entire Western States, every repeater frequency that there is. So, all right, small handheld, generally FM. Limited power, usually 8 watts or less. Includes a battery and antenna all in one package. You can get the secret squirrel thingy for your ear. You can get the plug-in mic, which is really nice because the plug-in mic moves the antenna away from your brain housing group.
That's why the plug-in mic is included in this.
Internal microphone and speaker. Some models can add externals, like the Baofeng even, which is a cheap Chinese radio. I'll be the first one to tell you that.
And the number of add-on things for that is staggering.
All these things. All of those. Huh? Yeah, sure. Just don't lose all the pieces.
Did you count them?
No, I got more.
Okay, one thing about an HT, hold it vertically. Don't waddle around. And 2 meters doesn't work very well inside your house. If you're going to do 2 meters, go outside. 440, you probably can transmit to a repeater. Depends on how close you are. 440 works pretty
If you're going to try and use a handheld from inside your house, the first thing you need to do is go buy a magnetic mount antenna and a metal cookie sheet.
Say again?
If you want to use it inside your house, the first thing you need to do for a handy-talkie is go buy a mag mount antenna and a ferrous, a magnetic attracting cookie sheet.
Even set it on a steel.
Sit it on top of your fridge if you have to, but get a base underneath of it and a better antenna.
Remember, you guys have heard us say this over and over. We'll keep right on saying it. The name of the game is antenna, antenna, antenna.
So I end every net with some variation of, if you buy a $5 antenna and put it on a $5,000 radio, you have a $5 radio system. Because it is the antenna that does the vast majority of the work. Some expanded receiver coverage, wideband receive. Very portable and self-contained. You can stick it in your pocket. The biggest advantage of that Baofeng is if you're out fishing, you got comms. And if you drop it over the boat, you won't cry because it's probably less than some of your lures.
And again, a Baofeng is, don't let the cheap price fool you. It's actually pretty capable radio. But Bruce has run a net more than once using the Baofeng. And you can't tell.
It is the antenna,
Yeah.
and with a repeater, it's your proximity and your line of sight propagation to the repeater. There's a lot of paperwork and people talking about it out there that the Baofengs are not FCC certified and they're not legal to use and yada yada yada. And they spit out the FCC has spit out a bunch of stuff about they're prohibited. But as a ham radio operator, that's not your problem. If it's in your hot little hand, it's legal to use.
Correct.
Period. It's on you to make sure that you're
Remember,
where you
ham
belong.
radio is the only service out there that they don't license the equipment. They
Right.
license the operator.
So what they were talking about when you see documents about the FCC is going to ban them, blah, 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 it's the importation and sale, not you as a ham radio operator operating it. So just because that's out there and there's a lot of people just don't get the nuance.
That's why we teach this class.
Okay, it's an attractive first starter rig, but make sure it's what you want. With the Baofeng, who cares?
I'm not out a whole bunch. Give it to the class.
They're often called handy talkies. Nice to have handheld accessories, so this is what you just had in that bag. Extra battery packs, drop-in fast charger, extended antenna, external microphone and speaker, a headset, all those things. You can, and more. In that bag, there's a charger. Plug into a USB and charge your Baofeng. If you have the right,
And it'll full charge.
it takes a long time.
It's not quick.
Because Ohm's law, right? If I'm going from 5 to 7.4, I'm not getting a whole lot of current. There's not a lot of current going through a USB cable, but it will charge. There's plug-in cigarette lighter ones. There are a lot of others. Some are made properly and some are not. Rig vocabulary. We're going to go through some jargon and vocabulary specific to functions and controls of transmitter and receiver. It's a way to discuss how to operate the transceiver. Controls, though separate, are combined in a transceiver. Everybody remembers what a transceiver is. Transmitter, receiver in one box. Okay, main tuning control, that's the one you spin. Both transmit and receive. Okay, so you tune it up. The keypad or VFO knob is used to enter a transceiver's operating frequency. So in a Baofeng, you punch it in. On some radios, you punch it in on the keypad or on the microphone itself, or you spin a dial, or both. The keypad or VFO knob used to enter a transceiver's operating frequency. Main tuning control.
What's VFO stand for?
Well, frequency is one of them. What's the other two?
Variable frequency oscillator.
There you go.
What was the speed? So everybody hear you.
Variable frequency oscillator.
Right. That's what changes the frequency we're on by changing either the oscillator itself or the multiplication and math done on it. Storing information in a memory channel enables quick access to a favorite frequency. Most radios have memory channels in them. The Baofeng's got 128 in that little cheap Chinese radio, 128 memory channels. Okay, a lot of them will have 800 channels. I don't think there's that many repeaters in the entire state. Variable frequency step size, tuning rate resolution. It's not yellow, so let's not worry too much about it, but you can change, when you turn the knob, you can change how much. If you just can't get to that frequency because it keeps jumping over it, might be that setting. You could have more than one VFO, control more than one frequency at a time.
Say, I got a question. If you want to call, say, like, the same 20 guys that you always talk to, and you're programming in chirp, whatever frequencies they're on, can you label it in the radio, like Bob and Joe or whatever, so that you don't have to remember 40 different numbers? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
well,
you can, but now what frequency are you on? Did it get changed? Do you know where you are?
For some radios, you can.
So, but yes, you can do that.
And some handhelds, the FT65 is the one I'm thinking of right now. The FT65 allows you to have a dual line display for each channel, so that you can display the frequency and the memory.
And the Baofeng does the same thing, but in a lower tech way. It's got
Yeah.
two windows. If you're in this memory channel 3 on the top and memory channel 3 on the bottom, you can have the top one display name and the bottom one display frequency.
But that means you have to change both VFOs.
You have to change them both, but if you're going like, what frequency is this, you can figure it out.
Yeah.
so if I have it on the name just because out of convenience, I'm talking to, say, 4 different dudes hunting all over the place, and then all of a sudden I need to know the frequency, can I just roll through the menu or something?
You could if you have the windows set up double. Some radios, you just hit a button and it'll show you the frequency. It all depends on the rig you've got. All right, transmitter mode selector, both transmit and receive for multi-mode rigs. So you gotta have a mode selector if it's got more than one mode. AM, FM, single sideband, lower sideband or upper, the mode selector is gonna tell you where that is. It might be a knob, it might be a push button, it might be a touch screen. It just depends on the radio. Read your manual. CW data, RIDI, could be automatic based on recognized band plans. So most modern radios, when you go to a frequency and you turn on the repeater function, it'll automatically put in whether it's a positive or negative offset because the computer's smarter than we are. And it's literally a computer inside that radio. Microphone controls. Gain, how loudly you need to talk. So with a Baofeng, the easiest way to access the microphone gain is to do this. More gain, less gain. If you're talking out here with a Baofeng, we won't hear you. There's a little hole in there somewhere.
That's not a Baofeng, so.
Oh, it's not a Baofeng. No, Baofeng, there's a little hole right there. And if you're not right in front of it like that, we're not going to hear you very well. I believe there is a mic gain control in it.
Hey Bruce, there's a Baofeng right there next to you.
Oh, there is a Baofeng.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there's a little hole right there. Some people actually take a drill bit and drill that out. I wouldn't recommend it. I believe that is an engineered size hole that does not allow water surface tension to put a drop of water through there. Okay, so gain, how loudly you need to talk. So if everybody's always telling you your audio is low and you're like this already up on the microphone, there's a control in your radio that's going to turn the gain up. You'll hear us on the radio going like, hey, bring that microphone up and eat the mic. Excessive microphone gain on single sideband transmissions will result in distorted audio.
And you will piss off your listeners.
So there is a limit.
Irritating.
And will result in comments from the people you're talking to.
Yes. And they may or may not be constructive.
Yeah.
Okay, speech compressor or speech processor. This is where you're going to really get into trouble with the people that are hearing your voice if you put too much on there. Okay, speech processor compacts your speech into a narrow frequency range to enhance punch by increasing the apparent loudness of transmitted voice signals. So we're increasing the apparent loudness, which means we're going to possibly distort it.
Sometimes called compression.
Yeah.
And you are
Speech
also
compressor.
increasing your transmit duty cycle.
Yes. Yeah. You don't want to do that. If you get on there and your speech compressor, more is better, and you turn it to 100%, yeah, you're not going to make any friends, and you're going to possibly influence people to not like you. Okay, increases the average power of a single sideband phone signal. So if you increase the average power, increases your RF exposure, doesn't it? Incorrectly adjusted speech processor can cause problems. No, that's the way it's worded, but can is the wrong word.
Should be will.
Will. Incorrect adjusted processor can cause problems. Excess intermodulation products, distorted speech, and excessive background noise will be picked up. Now, when we got a little list like this, the question is probably, what could cause these problems? Or, yeah, and it's
What
going
kind
to be
of problems could it cause?
yeah, what kind of problems could an incorrectly adjusted speech processor cause? And it's probably going to be all of the above. So make sure you know at least two of those. If you know two of them, then you'll know it's all of the above. Okay, automatic level control, ALC. It's not yellow. Automatically limits the transmitter output level to prevent problems associated with too much gain or compression. Protects output amplifier transistors if the SWR increases. I think they're all digital modes, but you want to make sure that you have no ALC action happening, or your signal will be distorted. Because the ALC kicking in is limiting your transmitter output level. Okay, and those particular modes or software packages, they don't want you to have any ALC or automatic level control kicking in, so you tune the power and stuff to where as most as you can get without any ALC kicking in. It also can control external power amplifier operation to prevent excessive drive. I'm not sure what that means actually, other than I got a big box over here that'll spit out 10,000 watts and make me an illegal station, and it will control the external power amplifier. Automatic level control system should be inactive when transmitting, there it is, AFSK data signals, or it will distort the signal. So if you see ALC action on your screen or however your radio depicts it, I don't believe it's just AFSK though.
It's not. It's any
But that's the one
to
that's
some
questioned.
degree, but
Yeah.
AFSK is the biggest problem.
Right. Most solid-state transmitters reduce output power as SWR increases beyond a certain level to protect the output amplifier transistors. That's because there's power coming back, right? Some radios can absorb a bunch of bad SWR, and some radios...
Doesn't it go to ground?
No. It goes into your radio and it's heat.
Okay.
So some radios can handle SWR 3 before they start hosing you down and turning you down. Most are probably at 0 by 3, aren't they?
Well, not zero, but they're gonna be running,
Really, really low.
they're gonna be running 10% or less.
So that's a double hit. I mean, if you've got a high SWR on your antenna, it's folding back power and sending it back towards the transmitter. That's hit number one. Hit number two is the transmitter senses that and turns the power down. So now you have less power going out the antenna, and you
Yep.
have less power coming from the
Have a
transmitter.
double whammy.
Yep.
It is double whammy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
And the giveaway to you as an operator is, be aware when the fan comes on. There's a reason the fan comes on.
So some radios are worse than others. That is good reason to read the manual before you buy a radio. The FT100D, I have 2 of them. It's all band, all modes. It's a shack in a box. It's about the size of like that, about that long. It gets hot fast because there's a lot of stuff stuffed into it, and it starts cutting your power back at 1.5 SWR, which is nothing.
1.5 is only 4% reflected power.
At 2.0, there's nothing going out of the radio. It shuts it off. Yes.
So when you're doing, when you're not using a repeater and you're just talking, should you start off with a higher wattage?
If you're on Simplex, yeah, start out with it. Depends if you know who you're calling and you know where he is.
It's the first time, you're trying to hit something the first time, you start off high.
Yeah, start out high and go down low.
Go down.
If you can hear them, doesn't mean you can reach them if you got your power down low.
Well, I realize that,
So-
because it takes a lot more to transmit.
Right. So you'll hear me when I'm on Simplex, you go, hey, I'm on 50, I'm gonna turn it down to 5 and see if you can hear me. Oh, he didn't answer it, let's go up to 10. Minimum power necessary to make the communication, which we'll cover later. Transmitter on-off switch. Gotta have an on-off switch. You don't just yank the plug out every time. Push-to-talk switch is the PTT. That turns the transmitter itself on and off. Some mics have push-to-talk control in addition to mic power. It's really just gain. Voice-operated transmission. Do not use voice-operated transmission, VOX. You have the story.
Oh,
The Sheriff's Department.
the sheriff's department, somebody has a valve tank on 151 and 175, which is the sheriff's,
To listen in, probably.
that's the sheriff's dispatch frequency, and they had the radio on Vox, sitting in a charger, and the sheriff was getting pretty irritated because there was dogs barking and sometimes cussing and all kinds of things going on.
You do not want an open mic on any frequency, and it still happens. You're driving down the road, and you're talking on the radio, and traffic gets a little tight, and you just throw it down beside you, right? The next thing you know, your leg is pushing that button. And we are listening to your YL yell at you, and
Just be aware, Vox
Yeah.
can be a problem. Use it with caution.
I know in the military, like the worst thing possible when it comes to radio is hot micing. Like, so irritating. It's
Well,
Yeah.
Some crazy's going on and you're trying to call 10 miles back. to the
Yes.
place.
Vox gain is how sensitive it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you got the Vox gain at 1 or 0, every sound is gonna pick it up. You got it at 9 or 10 or whatever the highest of the scale is, probably not gonna pick up every little sound, but it's still gonna have the Vox circuit turned on. Vox delay
Vox delay is built so that you can do this without saying.
and not kick it in, yeah. And anti-Vox, but look, there's no yellow up there, I don't even know what those mean beyond just, hey, don't mess with Vox.
Yeah, just stay out of Vox.
And then key jack for CW keying, so that's just a .216, is it? Or do we use, no, that's aggregation, we use quarter. We use a 1/4 inch plug, could be a smaller one, 3.5. Microphones, there's hand mics, there's desk mics. You can have a preamplified desk mic if you have one, and the kids are watching TV 3 rooms down, well, you might be listening to your TV show, their TV show. And we can't have music on the radio, so that can be an issue. Speaker mics, headsets or boom sets. So you can go out and you can buy a $300, or you can spend more than that on a $600 headset. It's really sweet. Or you can go to Best Buy or Walmart and get a computer gaming headset. And it'll work. It's not the best, but it will actually work. That's what I still use.
Yeah, you want to make sure the impedance of the
Yes.
headset is the same as
Yes.
the impedance of the radio.
And the manufacturers are different. Asus don't work on ICOM.
There's Electret and dynamic mics, and yeah, there's issues there too. So, headsets and boom sets, internal mics,
HD.
the ones on an HT is the only ones I can think
That's
of.
it, yeah.
Speak across the mic, not into the mic.
Why?
If you're going like this, every time you've got a P or an S, and there's air flowing out, it's gonna and screw up your audio. So you talk across it like this, and it won't do that. If nobody's telling you about it, you're not doing it. Morse keys. Straight key, electronic key or in paddle, semi-automatic bug, and
A bug is a mechanical device that makes automatic dits. So it's got a little spring on there, you kick it over to one side, it's did. Electronic key or paddle is the same thing electronically within the circuit. But it will make automatic dits and automatic dials.
And a straight key, it's all on you.
so straight key is what you see in the old movies, right? Beep, 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 beep. You're hitting it and it's making a beep or cutting the beep. I don't know which way it is. That other one, you push the paddle to the left and it goes beep, 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 until you turn loose of it. And the other one goes da, 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 until you turn loose of it. And so they're just sitting there going like this and putting out Morse code. Blows my mind.
Most modern transceivers now have a electronic key built into the radio. All you have to do is plug the paddle in and go.
Okay, so it's not a keyboard.
Oh,
Because there are keyboards.
yes, right. You can
That's not
use the
shown.
keyboard and send Morse code directly from the keyboard.
Yeah, so you could type it in with a keypad, with a keyboard like on a laptop, and then the computer will process that, or the computer and the keyboard if it's a standalone, and then send out the signal. And then it'll come back, and if you got the right software, it'll read it. I don't know how well it reads it. And so you can do Morse code without doing the Morse code. It's
Well,
cheating.
it's more dependent on the conditions, band conditions.
That
If
makes
you've got a 5.9 signal with no static, no fade.
That makes sense.
It'll copy it perfectly.
And I would guess, I don't do CW, I would guess that anybody out there that does CW with their hand is going to know that you're typing it in with a computer, because there will be no variation in the signals other than the dits and the das. And they can probably hear that because in World War II, they could tell that he was sending a message or he was sending a message because they knew the fist or the hand of the keyer.
Well, it's just like your signature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.